subscribing and leaving comments.
From Thomas Steenburg, Calgary, Alberta. Investigating Sasquatch Reports in Alberta, Canada. Can everyone see that all right? Can everyone see all okay?
Yeah, very good.
Well, first of all, for anyone who doesn't happen to know where Alberta is, Canada, right next to British Columbia. There's BC, the Northwest Territories, Saskatchewan, and the American border. Montana to be exact. Sasquatch in the Alberta foothills is almost a traditional secret, something rarely discussed with outsiders. Most people who have grown up hunting and fishing in the Alberta foothills have heard tall tales about large, hair-covered, man-like creatures, whether around a campfire at night or in one of the local papers, which include a story about the Sasquatch every now and then when there's nothing better to fill in space. There is no place in Alberta where the Sasquatch has been turned into a money-making gimmick to attract tourists, like in a few places in British Columbia and the western United States. Next one. Ask anyone in Canada where Alberta is, and 9 times out of 10, they will say that it is part of the prairies. In a geographic sense, this is true, but many, Albertans included, would be surprised to find out that almost 2/3 of the province is covered by forests. From the northern boundary between Alberta and the Northwest Territories, down along the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, to the U.S. border in the south, there are about 318,000 square kilometers of forest. This is an area nearly the size of Washington and Oregon states put together. In this vast area, there are very few people. The total population of Alberta at the time of writing is 2,319,700. That's less than the city of San Francisco alone. Of this number, less than 1/4 lived in the forested areas of the Alberta foothills. The wildlife in the Alberta foothills is both vast and varied. Deer, elk, and moose are most common. The black bear can be found in the lower elevations, while the grizzly can still be found in fairly large numbers in the higher elevations. If the Sasquatch does indeed exist, it undoubtedly inhabits the forests of the Alberta foothills. The total number of Sasquatch sightings in the province of Alberta is unknown. I myself have looked into 24 recorded incidents. Of the 24 alleged sightings I have on file, 12 of them, 50%, have had more than one witness. 4 incidents have more than 2 witnesses. And 1 incident had 4 witnesses. It happened during the May 24th long weekend of 1988. In Canada, the May 24th long weekend is a holiday. It's our equivalent to your 4th of July. It occurred in the Crandall Lake Campground, which is a public campground located in Waterton Lakes National Park, located in the southwest corner of the province, right on the border. church. Another incident had 5 witnesses. It occurred at the Bighorn Dam while it was under construction during the summer of 1969, and I believe Mr. Green and Mr. Dahinden investigated that incident. The dam is located just south of Highway 11. In this area here. The map I made a floppy of was before 1969, so as you can see, Highway 11 on this map is not completed. Now it stretches all the way to Highway 93, and Abraham Lake is along this area of the North Saskatchewan River. It occurred at the Bighorn Dam while under construction during the summer of '69. The dam is located just south of Highway 11, which I've already mentioned, which runs east to west between Rocky Mountain House and Banff National Park. All the Alberta sightings describe a hair-covered bipedal animal with a face like that, more or less, of an ape. The color of the creature's hair is almost always described as black or brown. Of the sightings I have on file, 9 describe the hair color as black. 7 have reported brown hair color, and 2 reported reddish-brown hair. The 6 remaining reports have a color mix. 4 describe the hair coloring as either blackish-brown or brownish-black. 1 other report mentioned black with gray patches, and the last reported silver-tipped hair. The height of the creature is usually around 8 feet. However, in Alberta, we seem to have an unusually high percentage of extreme tall height reports. Of the 24 reports, 5 said the animal they saw was at least 10 feet or over in height. Now, most of these reports come from the same general area as well, north and south of Highway 11, around the Abraham Lake area. As I said earlier, Abraham Lake is a man-made lake which was created when the Bighorn Dam was completed. Five workmen were working on the water pumping station of the dam when it was under construction in 1969. They reported that they all watched as a man-like creature walked along a high river bank about a mile away. After the creature had moved off, 2 of the men went up to the spot where the animal had stood. The men who stayed below were amazed to see that their companions, who were standing at the same spot, did not come up to half the height of the animal they all saw. So the men below estimated, and I do say estimated, that the creature must have stood about 15 feet tall. A few years later, a witness driving along Highway 11, not far from the Bighorn Dam site, when he reported having to stop his car because of 2 15-foot creatures that were standing on the road. He got out of his car and watched as the 2 hair-covered creatures trudged off the road and out of sight. Mr. Al Frockenledge reported that while he was taking a walk along a cut line near the 7-mile recreation area, which is on the Clearwater River just south of Abraham Lake, he saw the head of a huge animal peeping out at him from behind a clump of trees. The trees, he said, were about 11 feet tall. They were young trees. So the animal must have stood at least 13 feet tall, according to his estimation. Al Frockenledge's sighting took place in August of 1984. I myself have always assumed that the height of a full-grown Sasquatch was around 8 feet. That's assuming that the animal does indeed exist. So I had always wrote off the extreme height reports as an overestimation in the excitement of the moment. But it does seem strange that almost all of these reports come from the same general area. Today I'm not so quick to judge and dismiss them. Almost all sightings in Alberta, as in most cases, are very brief, lasting a few seconds at most. Rarely does a person see a Sasquatch without the creature being alerted to his presence, allowing him to observe the creature closely for a period of time. Usually a hiker or prospector is walking along when he or she suddenly hears something big rapidly moving away through the trees. All the person sees is a glimpse of the animal before it disappears deeper into the bush. Although there have been reports of Sasquatches bluff charging in British Columbia and the western United States, in Alberta, this type of behavior has not been reported yet. I only have 2 reports of 2 Sasquatches together, one of which took place early in the summer of 1972. The witness in question was driving north of Highway 35, the Mackenzie Highway, which is an extreme northern part of the province, between Steen River and Mean Deer River, when he saw ahead of him 2 creatures on the right-hand side of the road. They were covered from head to foot with black hair. On seeing the oncoming truck, the 2 animals crossed the road and disappeared into the bush on the other side. He reported that he thought one animal was about 6.5 feet tall, while the second animal stood a great deal shorter. He suggested that it might have been a female with a baby meaning a mere 3.5 feet tall. However, he said he saw no indication of the sex of either animal. Alberta has had its share of roadside sightings. In my files there are 4, one of which I just mentioned. The odd thing about Alberta is that most of them, well except one, have taken place during daylight hours. In my British Columbia file, almost all roadside sightings have happened after dark, at least the ones reported to me. Of the 4 reports, 2 of them were made from inside a truck. One was reported from a mother and her son as they were walking near the Tay River campground, also along the Clearwater River. The 4th was seen by Mr. Roy Ford while he was walking his horse along a road near the Yaha-Tinda Ranch, which is located in the Rocky Mountain House foothills just east of Banff National Park. Of course, it's not on this map, but it is around this area. Well, excuse me, this area here, in between the Clearwater River and the Red Deer River. Mr. Horde, a Korean War veteran with the Lord Strathcona's Horse Royal Canadians, was walking his horse back to the ranch when he saw what he described as a dark brown colored Sasquatch, and he also gave the usual descriptions, just over the crest of the next hill. It was standing in the middle of the road watching him and the horse come toward him. When they got within 1,000 yards, the creature, of course, as always, walked off the road and into the trees. Roy said he thought it was strange that the horse did not panic or bolt. He knew the animal saw the Sasquatch in question, was looking right at it, but it didn't get no strange reaction from the horse whatsoever. There have been a lot of reports of an unpleasant odor associated with the Sasquatch in British Columbia and the western United States. But in Alberta, most sighting reports make no mention of a strong smell at all. Of my reports, only 2 out of the 24 have reported a strong smell. I suppose a Sasquatch smells no worse than any other animal that hasn't walked through a river or a creek in the last few days. Or maybe the Sasquatch likes to roll in something smelly now and again, just like bears, wolves, or our own domestic dogs do. I have not heard of an incident in Alberta where a Sasquatch has been reported to have been shot. I do have one incident on file where a moose hunter did shoot at the creature during the hunting season of November 7, 1975 to be exact. The animal was running at the time, so he does not know if he hit it or not. He does know he did not bring it down because he searched the area but did not find the body. I myself, in the time I've been hunting for this animal, have not seen what I believe to be footprints in Alberta. I do have 5 files on alleged footprint findings, however, and out of the 5, 4 describe tracks in snow. Now, we all know that melting snow can play strange tricks. Footprints are also easier to fake in snow. There have been many reports of strange footprints being found in the Alberta foothills, but out of the 5 findings reported to me, I believe that only 2 may have had anything remotely to do with the Sasquatch, and I mean remotely. The 5th report described a lone footprint in a creek bed. I do not know of any account in Alberta where someone has observed a Sasquatch eating. They have been seen in water many times. Almost half of my reports place this elusive creature in or near water. Day and night sightings are about even, 50-50. I have one report of a Sasquatch making a screaming noise. Two reports where it was making a noise when suddenly confronted face-to-face with a person. One reported a low moan in the back of its throat while it was standing face-to-face with a 13-year-old girl. The other incident reported a low snorting noise as two people nearly walked into the animal while walking along a pathway inside a public camping ground. There are a few hair-raising stories and reports of some unidentified animal circling campsites while making strange noises, screams, grunts, groans, whistles, etc. However, no one saw the animal as it stayed outside the area illuminated by the campfires. So no one can say that a Sasquatch was responsible for these stories. There is at this time massive government projects starting up in the northern part of the province. Pulp and paper mills and logging are opening up the forests of Alberta like never before. So I'm sure that if the Sasquatch does indeed exist, we will hear more sightings and footprint findings as more and more of Alberta's forest falls before the lumberjack's saw. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Questions? Yeah.
Yeah, two questions. One, do you ever talk with people that state on the dam witnesses?
One of them.
And are there any reports of people
Yeah, you did a good job.
There have been reports, but only one or two reported to me since I'm located in the south. And most of the reports reported to me are in the south, around west of Calgary, Edmonton, foothills, and along the border. But there have been reports in the northern areas, and I'm sure there's been more than what has been reported to me and those I've looked into. I've heard of a few of them secondhand. Any other questions?
Okay, we'll go on to our final speaker for today, and that is John Green, who will speak to us again on
If you're enjoying all this rare and unique content, please show your support by subscribing and leaving comments.